Alright guys, so these are the notes for the second day of school. Hopefully you're watching these before class so that if you have any questions about them, you can just ask them. Yeah, let's get started. So today we're going to be solving for a variable. So instead of getting out a number, this time we'll get a variable. So if this first question says solve for x, so that means we need to isolate this x and get it by itself. Okay, so in order to do that, think of opposite PEMDAS like I was saying the other day. If you watch that video, when we solve, we do PEMDAS backwards. So adding and subtracting would happen first, multiplying and dividing would happen second, and then we would look at the exponents, and then finally we would go to powers if they exist. So we start down here with adding and subtracting. So that looks like we're going to add 4y to the other side. So when we do that, we get 3x is equal to 12 plus 4y. We cannot combine those two things because there's a y on the 4 and there's not a y on the 12, so they just stay separate from each other. And then finally, we're going to move up to our next layer, and that's multiply and divide. So there's multiplication happening here, so we would divide 3, and then we divide the entire side by 3 on the other side. So that's going to leave us with x is equal to 12 plus 4y over 3. And this, because 3 comes out of there and there, we actually can simplify. Or you could just leave this answer just like this. That's acceptable. But if you wanted to simplify, it would be x is equal to, and then you would cut up the denominator. So it would be 12 over 3 plus 4y over 3. And then finally you get x is equal to 12 divided by 3 gives us 4, so that's 4 plus 4y over 3. And then that would be our final answer. And guys, I much prefer this answer over this answer because this just looks a lot more clean to me. Okay, so I always recommend always simplify your fractions as much as possible. All right, so solving for b in this one. This means we need to isolate the b. So we're going to add 4 to both sides. That would give us 2b over 3 plus 6a is equal to 12. Subtract the 6a from both sides. That's going to give us 2b over 3 is equal to 12 minus 6a. Okay, and then there's a lot of ways to get this off of here. You can do it in one step, and you could multiply by 3 over 2. And then you would take this whole thing, and you would multiply by 3 over 2. Okay, and then 3 cancels with the 3, 2 cancels with the 2, and we get b is equal to 3/2 times 12 minus 6a. And then we have to distribute the 3/2 into there so that we get it completely simplified. So it's going to be 3/2 times 12 minus 3/2 times 6a. And then how I do fractions is I take the number and I want to divide it by the 2. And then I'm going to multiply whatever I get by the 3. So 12 divided by 2 gives us 6. 6 times 3 gives us 18. So that's 18 minus, and then 6 divided by 2 gives us 3. 3 times 3 gives us a 9 right here. So that's going to be minus 9a. And that is what b is equal to. Okay? So then now we're going to come down to 3. So it says solve for b again. These are all multiplication things happening here because there's no signs, so it's all division to get off of it. So I'm just going to divide everything by h first. So then that gives us a over h is equal to 1/2 b. And then if you divide by 1/2, sorry, that is the same thing as multiplying by 2. Okay, so dividing by a fraction is the same thing as multiplying by its reciprocal. So I'm just going to say times 2. And notice how the 2 and the 1/2 would cancel. So that would give us 2a over h is equal to b. And that's fully simplified. All right, this one, solve for x. This one gets tough, okay? So x, we need to get all of our x's to the same side, okay? So I'm actually going to subtract the minus xy to the other side. So it's going to give us 4x minus xy is equal to 3. Okay, now that all of the x's are on the same side, we can do the opposite of distribution, okay? So what that means is we're going to pull the x's out to the front. So then it's going to become x multiplied by 4 minus y, which is equal to 3. And notice this is the opposite of distribution because we can multiply this x back in, and then we would get out the 4x minus xy. Okay? And if you have questions about that, please ask me in class, okay? So then we're going to finish this, and we're just going to divide by 4 minus y, divide by 4 minus y, and we would get x is equal to 3 over 4 minus y. And because there's two things in the denominator here, we cannot break it up like we did in this first question right here, okay? So that means this is for sure our final answer. It can't be broken up, okay? All right, so it says now solve the following problems with your group and then check the answers with the iBook. Okay, we're just going to kind of keep going through this. So if you're good here, guys, by all means you can be good, but please make sure you just finish the notes. So this says solve for c, then find the value of c if f is 81. Okay, so solving for c, we would subtract off 32 from both sides. We would get f minus 32 is equal to 9/5 c. Okay, and then we'd multiply by 5/9 on both sides. And that would give us 5/9 times f minus 32 is equal to c. Okay, and then it says if f is 81, find the value of c. So that means what we're going to do is we're just going to plug in 81 into this equation, and it will actually give us a c value out. So then 81 minus 32, that's going to give us 49 times 5/9 is going to be 27.22 repeating. Okay, and this is actually the formula to convert Fahrenheit to Celsius. Okay, so if you ever need that, this is the formula, which is nice. All right, so next it says solve for b sub 2, then find the value of b sub 2 if a is 36, h is 6, and b sub 1 is 4. So b sub 2 is in this parentheses. That means we need to get everything off of the parentheses before we're allowed to get in there. So I'm going to multiply by 2 on both sides. That's the 2 and 1/2 go away. So that's 2a is equal to b1 plus b2 times h. We divide off the h from both sides. So that gives us 2a divided by h is equal to b1 plus b2. And then if we're isolating b1, we need to b2, we need to subtract the b1 from both sides. That gives us 2a over h minus b1 is equal to b2. And then again, we're just plugging in all of these numbers. So 2 times 36 divided by 6 is h, minus b1 is 4, which would give us a b2. So then what we're going to do here, 36 divided by 6 is 6, so 2 times 6 is 12, minus 4 gives us 8. Okay, so I did 36 divided by 6, divided by that 6, and then that gave us this 6 right here. So 36, 6 gives us this 6, 2 times 6 gives us 12, and then I just drop down this 4. All right, last one. So it says solve for x, then find the value of x if y equals 1.5. So this is, again, one of those ones where we have x's on the same side, but they're in two different terms that we cannot combine. So we're going to do that opposite distribution thing where we pull out the x's. So it's going to be x times 2 plus y is equal to 6. Divide by 2 plus y. Divide by 2 plus y. And we get x is equal to 6 over 2 plus y. And so now it says y is 1.5, so then we just plug that in. X equals 6 over 2 plus 1.5, so that's x is equal to 6 over 3.5. And then if you just do 6 divided by 3.5, did I do that right? 6 divided by 3.5. Actually, let's make this a fraction. Let's go 6 over 3/5 is going to be 7 halves, right? And then let's reduce the fraction. So it's going to be 6 times 2 over 7, which would give us 12 sevenths, or 1.714. Okay. In Honors Algebra 2, guys, I really want to challenge you guys to do this fraction simplification, okay? If you didn't understand that, please, please, please ask me, because it's something that it will become an expectation. For now, a decimal is okay, but definitely not what I'll want later on in the class, okay? So be weary and try to start understanding how to go from 6/3 to 12/7, okay? Anyway, I hope these notes were helpful, and please, please, please come with questions so I can answer them. Thanks.